Hi South Coast Christian Life Groups and Leaders, welcome to week 5 of our fall trimester. I hope that you all had a great week and are excited about getting into a discussion today. So let's get started. On Sunday, we took a break from our usual sermon series format, and we heard a really encouraging message from Pastor Tom on the greatness of God. If you didn't catch it, I'd encourage you going back and listening to the podcast or watching the vodcast. This message was a great reminder to all of us that God is greater. Greater than what, you might ask? Well, we'll explore that today and dig a little bit deeper into the characteristics of God, take a look at some of his promises and core truths that we can take comfort in. As we'll learn today, God doesn't promise us comfort, but we can take comfort in knowing that God is great. So 2 Peter 1:12 states, "Therefore, I will always remind you about these things, even though you already know them and are standing firm in the truth that you've been taught. And it is only right that I should keep on reminding you as long as I live." So this Sunday, we were reminded of 4 core truths, and these truths are going to form the basis for our discussion today. The first truth is that God is in control. As humans, we tend to have a limited view of just about everything, yet we're always wanting to control things and control situations, control people. And it's during times of difficulty and struggle that we often cling to control even more tightly. It's easy to trust in the greatness of God when things are good, but what about when things are difficult? PT mentions that many times God has used difficult times in his life to reveal greater purpose. And I think a lot of us who have been walking with the Lord for some amount of time could say the same thing. So our first discussion topic for today is share a difficult time in your life, where maybe a time where you gave up control to God, and how did it work out? Why is prayer and asking God for help so important during those times? Pause the video there. Be back with you soon. So the second truth really goes hand in hand with the first, and that is God is good. You can give up control to him because he's good. But many times we question God's goodness, maybe not directly, but through our own victim mentality. We mess up and we experience an earthly consequence, and sometimes we blame God, when in reality it's just simply our own fault and there's a consequence for that. So our next question is, how can you stop seeing God as the problem and start seeing him as the solution? If you have done this in the past, share with the group about that experience and how it impacted your relationship with God and others. Go ahead, pause the video, be back with you soon. The third truth that we learned about this weekend is that God is faithful, always faithful. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. So while we change many times throughout our life, God doesn't. His love for you is always burning at full capacity. Pastor Tom described faith this weekend like an exercise. It's endurance, and like any marathon runner, we increase our endurance through daily training. Our best response to God's faithfulness is to work on our own faithfulness in response. Going through difficult times and tests can lead us to being more faithful. So our next discussion topic is share a time in your life when your faith was challenged. Did you grow or not? How can you see obstacles as opportunities to grow in your faith as you move forward in your life? Pause the video right there. Be back with you soon. So the fourth and final truth that we were reminded of on Sunday is that God is timely. What does that mean? It means that we must be patient and trust God's timing and not our own. His timing is perfect. Look at Galatians 6:9. "So let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up." Now we're kind of getting back into who is actually in control, right? Us or God. I've noticed as I've gotten older that I try to force things less. Maybe you can relate. In my teens and my 20s, I was always advocating for myself, trying to make my talents known and padding my resume in an effort to be taken more seriously. Now in my late 30s, I've begun to slow down and let the process unfold more. And as I'm talking with people, older people who are further down the road from me, I usually get a vibe that they're even more patient. I think we call that wisdom. Because in our linear timeline here on Earth, we gain wisdom as we go. But God has infinite wisdom. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. So why wouldn't we trust God's time frame and not ours? So our final discussion topic is, why should we trust God's timing and not our own? Maybe share an example of a time looking back that you trusted God's timing and how that impacted your life and maybe spared you from an unseen problem. Go ahead, pause the video right there. So that wraps up our discussion for today. As Pastor Tom said in his message, next time you face a trial or difficulty in your life, start with these 4 truths. God is in control, God is good, God is faithful, and God is timely. We love you here at South Coast Christian, and we're praying for you. So have a great week. We'll see you this coming Sunday. Take care. God bless.